Hi and welcome to Paradise First Aid. This video is going to instruct you how to apply a defibrillator to a patient following a cardiac arrest. Automated external defibrillators are located in many public places. These include transit centres such as airports and train stations, hotels, casinos, social clubs, and many other public venues now have automated defibrillators. The first thing you need to do is establish that your patient has suffered cardiac arrest. They will be not breathing and unresponsive. Once you have established that your patient is in cardiac arrest, send for help. Call the emergency services and try and locate the nearest defibrillator if possible. CPR should be performed immediately following the discovery that the patient is not breathing. Once the defibrillator arrives, you need to prepare the patient for defibrillation. This means cutting or removing clothing from the patient's chest, but do not spend time undressing the patient. Do this quickly using scissors or by ripping buttons open. If the patient is excessively hairy, you need to shave where you're going to locate the pads on the patient's chest. Most defibrillators will come with a disposable razor, so just shave where you're going to apply the pads. This should not take you more than a couple of seconds. If the patient's chest is wet, either through sweat or being submerged in water, you need to dry their chest. Remove any jewellery from around the patient's neck and any medication patches that they may have on. These look similar to nicotine patches. These can be ripped off very easily. Ensure the patient is not on a moving or a metal surface, and then switch the defibrillator on.
Apply pads to patient's bare chest. Plug in pads connector next to flashing light.
The machine has instructed me to apply the pads to the patient's chest.
Plug in connector.
Now these pads may already be attached to the defibrillator or they may be separate in a foil package. Have a look at the pads. They give you a picture of where the pad needs to be applied to the patient's bare chest. Have a look at the picture, determine where it needs to go, and remove the backing from the pad.
Apply pads, insert connector firmly.
Apply to the chest. If the pads are not attached to the machine, you'll need to do that now.
Apply pads, insert analyzing heart rhythm.
The machine will now analyse the patient to see whether they need to be defibrillated. It's very important that nobody touches the patient.
Shock advised. Charging.
So the machine has indicated that we need to shock the patient.
Deliver shock now. Press the orange button now.
Ensure that nobody touches the patient, including yourself, when you provide the shock. Stand clear.
Now. Press the orange. Shock delivered.
The patient may contract slightly.
Begin CPR.
As soon as that shock has been delivered, 2 minutes of CPR must be performed. This includes 30 chest compressions followed by 2 rescue breaths. If you are unable or unwilling to give the rescue breaths, then continue with your chest compressions only. During this 2 minutes, you should not assess the person's breathing at any point unless they start to breathe or respond normally. You will see this as you're performing your CPR. At the end of 2 minutes, the machine will come back and analyse the patient again.
Analyzing heart rhythm.
2 minutes have passed and the machine will now analyse. Ensure that CPR stops and that nobody touches the patient.
No shock advised. If needed, begin CPR.
This time the machine has indicated that no shock is advised, and this means one of 2 things. It either means that the patient's heart is back into a normal rhythm, or it means their heart has gone into a rhythm which is no longer treated by the process of defibrillation. Now the only way we can determine the difference between those is by assessing the patient's breathing. So once the machine says no shock advised, get down and look, listen and feel to see if your patient is breathing normally. If your patient is breathing normally, then their heart must be beating, in which case roll the patient onto their side in the recovery position and continue to monitor their airway and their breathing. Leave the pads on, leave the machine switched on, and leave everything plugged in so that the machine can analyse them every 2 minutes. There is a chance that their heart may stop again and you'll need to roll them back and continue with your CPR and defibrillation. After the machine has analysed and stated that there is no shock, and you check the patient's breathing, and they are not breathing normally, this means that their heart has gone into a rhythm which is no longer treated by defibrillation, and you need to continue with CPR. So another 2 minutes of CPR is performed at the ratio of 30 compressions followed by 2 breaths, until the machine is ready to analyse them again. The only time you stop CPR when you're using a defibrillator, apart from when the machine is analysing and shocking, is if the patient is clearly breathing or responding normally. Otherwise, CPR needs to continue. Defibrillators are very easy machines to use. Make sure that you read the instructions that come with the machine and you listen to what the machine is telling you to do. You should never delay defibrillation waiting for somebody who's trained to use the machine. Use it yourself and listen carefully. The machine will not allow you to shock a patient that does not require defibrillation. For more instructional videos on how to perform CPR, then please visit our website or our Facebook page. Thank you for listening. We hope you never have to perform these skills, but feel a bit more confident in the event that you do need to apply them. We'd love to see you in one of our first aid or CPR training courses, and the dates for these can be found on our website at paradisefirstaid.com.au. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you soon.